All right, everybody, welcome back. It is Kanan. I'm joined by several other people that we will do a little intro for everyone. And if you don't, I will link everyone's socials down below. But we are going to go over the ABCA Top 25, and then we all have done our own. And we're going to do a little debate on things. And I think it's going to be a little spicy. So whoever wants to go first, we can just kind of give an intro. Everyone. Mollie, you first.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Molly. I run Minute Volley, and I don't know what else to say.
Period.
That's pretty much it.
Arik.
Okay, hold on.
I'm just going the list of names in front of me, honestly.
All right, go. Somebody else go.
Abby, you go. We'll come back to Arik.
Oh, you said me? Okay, perfect. I'm Abby. My username is #1volleyball on Instagram and TikTok, and yeah, I just like making volleyball content.
Period.
All right, I'm back. I had a little choking episode. I'm Arik with Women's College Volleyball Nerdz. One of Kanan's besties. He just reminds everyone every single time. Yeah, we cover all things college volleyball.
All right, and I'm Justin from Around the Block. Super excited to get into the women's season now. It's starting up.
Yes, sir. And then your counterpart is missing.
Yeah, he had something come up with his girlfriend, so he won't be joining us. But we did make the list together. So.
Okay, heard. Okay, so let's get into it, and so let's do like 5 at a time. I think that would be the best way to do it. And I think what's best is like I'll give the ABCA top 5 like in that order, and then we'll just kind of debate what we have. So the ABCA has from 25 to 21. They have Oregon, BYU, Colorado, Tennessee, Baylor, and let's get into it. I guess I'll go first. I had USC at 25 just because I don't know what they're going to look like. Iowa State, again, honestly, 16 through 25 is kind of a train wreck. I don't know what is going to happen between there. So take this all with a grain of salt until we get to 15. I put Iowa State at 24, UNC at 23, and honestly, looking at this list, they could probably be higher, but again, I don't really know where they'll go. And then I have Baylor, and then I have Cal Poly rounding out at 21, and I think they are super slept on. They weren't in this top 25 from the ABCA at all.
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised that Cal Poly wasn't. They were my 25. I put them at 25 just because they made the Sweet 16 at the end of the day. And then, yeah, I also had USC a little lower than 20, and then Baylor after that, so.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about Cal Poly just because I haven't really looked into like their schedule or anything. I have them like kind of couple out. I just like don't. I feel like they're probably going to do well in the tournament again, but until then, I'm not sure I'm going to be paying that much attention to them. Even though they were really good last year. But I've got Georgia Tech at 25, and then Baylor, Tennessee, Florida, and UCLA.
For me, Cal Poly specifically was one of the biggest debates that my brother and I had. We ended up putting them just on the outside, but I had to write them down as an honorable mention. I think they're going to do really well this year, so I want to promote them at the very least. But we did have the same 5 in the bottom 5 as the ABCA, just in a little bit of a different order. We had BYU at 25, Baylor 24, Oregon 23, Tennessee 22, and Colorado at 21.
So, again, so ABCA, I know Cal Poly was number 27 if they had like the list that continued in regards to receiving votes. I know on our polls they received votes. Me personally, I had them at 22. I think they did something pretty promising. Yes, they lost like one key starter, but everybody else returns, which I gave them, that 22 spot. So I started number 25, Colorado, 24, North Carolina, 23 Tennessee, 22 Cal Poly, and 21 Baylor. It kind of aligns with, kind of the ABCAs, but again, I put that twist on BYU, Cal Poly. I kind of changed that stuff around. Again, BYU is going to look like a whole different team, in my opinion. First-year coach that I kind of think is going to have to, prove themselves. So again, BYU is a big question mark for me on that side.
Agreed.
I feel like an odd one out because I don't have BYU in my top 25.
I also don't have BYU in my top
Okay.
25. Yeah.
There's too many
You're not the only
questions.
one.
Like, they've got a really good middle, and they've got Clear Little Chambers, and I'm looking at the rest of it. Like, they did bring in Kaylee Ko for Kofi, but I kind of think they're going to run to 6-2, which I think is going to be not a good idea.
Yeah. I just think any team that I didn't know what they were going to do, I dropped, like, rank. Because I'm like, that's why I put Cal Poly in mine, is that they return everybody except for one, and they returned Bashir, who I think was, like, the brunt of their team. So that's why I was like, they made a pretty good run, and I think she kind of, like, leads the charge for them. But I think, I think there's going to be so much movement from 16 to, honestly, like, 35. Like, anywhere in there, people are going to move in and out the first, like, 2 months. So, yep, so I guess we'll just continue on from 20 to 16, and they have, in this descending order, they have Southern California, which I think is a little high, North Carolina, TCU, Florida, and then Indiana, rounding out their 16, which I think is actually kind of similar to mine. I have, it's kind of a hot take. I put Kansas at 20, and then I put TCU at 19, and TCU, to me, honestly has the potential to go way higher than this, but I don't know what their starters that were injured look like. I don't know what they're going to run. I think there's a lot of what ifs, and that's why I didn't put them higher. But I think they have a lot of potential to do a lot of what they did at the beginning of last season. And then I have UCLA at 18, which the ABCA left UCLA out altogether, which I think is a little crazy. I think a coaching change was good, and they returned a lot of key starters plus some good transfers. And then I have Indiana at 17, which I think maybe they could go higher, but I just, again, there's a lot of what ifs with them for me. And then Florida at 16, and honestly, I might have put them too high. I think Florida could go a lot lower. I have no idea what to expect with Florida.
Yeah, so I ended up with, sorry, I'll do 16 to 20. I don't know why, it's just, that's how it is. But I actually put both UNC and TCU higher on my list. I think UNC and TCU, they're like my two sleeper teams this season. UNC brings back everybody except for their starting libero, and I mean, they lost to Wisconsin, who ended up going on a tear all the way to the Final Four. I think if UNC could have been against, I would say, 2 or 3 other teams in the second round, I think they would have a real shot at making the Sweet 16 last year. So I have them at 16, TCU at 17, Indiana at 18, Kansas at 19, and Tennessee at 20. Florida was my 21.
Okay, work.
Yeah, so on North Carolina, I also have them probably stupidly high, but I do have a fun fact, is that the teams the last 2 before this past tournament, the teams in the last 2 tournaments that lost to Wisconsin went on to win the Natty the next year, so Penn State and then Texas A&M. So,
I mean,
I don't know.
That's the real hot take.
But
You be knowing these, you're like the investigator. Like, that's why I go to your page and I'm like,
Here,
that's why when people are like, I'm like, go to Molly's page. Like, this girl does investigative work.
well, because I was thinking about Texas, how North Carolina is kind of like my Texas A&M this year. Again,
They're good.
not sure that they're going to go quite to the top, but I was like, wait, they lost to Wisconsin. Who lost to them? And then I saw it was Penn State. I was like, well, wait a minute. But then
Right.
it went to Texas because they repeated. Anyway, my 20 through 16 is Indiana. They just lose 2 of their core pins. I
Right.
love Jaden Jager, and they transferred in Kiki Granberry, and I think she's going to do amazing. But
Yeah.
I am like a little nervous for them, especially because the
Agreed.
Big Ten's going to be tougher this year.
Agreed.
Then Utah, passing is what I'm nervous for with them. TCU, Creighton, which I'm like, I don't even know. Creighton, I was just one
Right.
of those where it's like, I have to throw them in, but again, I don't know. And then Kansas.
Work.
Yeah, for me, again, after like my top 12, I really didn't know what I was doing with my life. So again, I'm going to start at the top. 16 Kansas, 17 Creighton. I could have switched those around easily. 18 Oregon, 19 Florida, 20 USC. Again, could have flipped all those around every which way.
Yeah.
There's just so many tools in their toolbox for all those teams. It's just a matter of what the coach are going to do, come season, later on. So I don't, there's just so much. Like, to question there. So again, probably all 5 of those you could have rearranged in any sort of way. That's just where I went with it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then for mine, I'm going to balance everyone out here a little bit. At number 20, we had North Carolina and UNC here. 19, we had USC. 18, Florida. 17, Kansas. And 16, Indiana. And I think UNC, at least for me, I think maybe it was just them losing to Wisconsin. You know, that's the last taste I had of them in my brain. I was like, we can leave them a little bit lower, but I also saw everyone rating them highly, so I'm okay leaving them low. We got to balance it out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I got them real low. So,
Right.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's solid. Again, I think it's I don't know. I don't know what to expect. And this year, I think college volleyball in general is going to be insane. And then I think next year will actually be more insane with the 5-for-5 and who leaves and who stays.
Yeah.
Especially with some of the ones that I've heard are staying. I'm like, ooh, this really going to rock some shit. I'm excited. But we'll go to 15 to 11, and now we get spicy. So now let's start the debates, y'all. Because I think my number 15 is about to rock some people's world here. So I got Texas A&M at 15. Ooh. And I got Indiana at 14, which I really think... Oh, wait. Hold on. I moved them around. This is not right. I forgot to see them off 14. I moved them down.
I swear you moved them around.
Yes, I did. 13, 12, 11. Okay, what did I move, though? Yeah, somebody else go while I figure out what I did. I did changes right before this video.
Yeah, I don't mind. Again, we're doing 11 through 15. Okay, I'm just going to go up. 15, TCU. Again, a hard one. Minnesota, 14. I could have moved them down on my list. But I feel with Wookie back, I think she's going to be a game changer for them, especially her fully healthy. And talking with her at Big Ten Media Day, she's back and ready to go. Heard great things about her against their Texas exhibition match. So again, hopefully promising things there. And with Minnesota Gophers, 13 I have at Indiana. And let me see here, 12 is SMU, 11 Penn State. Okay, between Penn State, SMU, and Indiana, I honestly could have went 3 different routes. That's just where I ended up, on my list. But again, that one, 11, 12, 13 was really, actually 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, but we'll get there next. But yeah, 11, 12, 13, I was just like, I was stuck there. Those are the 3 teams I wanted. I just didn't know in what order, and I literally was like throwing darts. Like, here it goes, and this is where it's stuck.
Felt. And also, I found out what I did. I literally just miscounted altogether. So we're just going to make our 26 like Oregon, 25 Oregon, and then just bump Florida to 15 to fix the list, because that's fine, I think. So that would put me with Florida at 15, Texas A&M at 14, Minnesota at 13, which after their scrimmage against Texas makes me rethink that, but I didn't want to change it based off of an exhibition match. And then 12, I put Creighton, which I feel like is probably a little high, but they're one of those that I know, like, their coaching staff is pretty good, and I think I take that into account for sure. And they have, like, their transfers are all pretty proven in solid conferences versus, like, other teams like A&M where they have good transfers but in weaker conferences. And then I have Purdue at 11, which same as Arik. I think 8 through 12, 11-ish kind of go wherever. I don't really know. But, yeah, that's it.
All right, I went 11 to 15. I honestly, between Penn State, Creighton, and Texas A&M, they were just like my 3 that just didn't make the top 10. I don't really know how to exactly rank them, but I guess I'll go Penn State, Creighton, Texas A&M, Minnesota, and North Carolina. Oh wait, did I say North Carolina for 16? Mm-hmm. I meant for 15. Now I'm messing up too.
It's fine. I'm telling you, I've rewritten this list so many times that I think that's what happened to me. Is that I'd be like deleting and moving names, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, I think I've spent way too much time on this list. Easily 2 hours, easily 2 to 3 hours after looking at stats and stuff. Like, not even like research. Like, research, too much.
Yeah, I would say just, especially with Penn State might be the team that I'm just like the most intrigued and excited to watch this season. I think they have a lot of really good weapons, just watching their spring match. So I think they could go, I mean, again, like going from the national championship to losing in the second round is just such a big jump that it's like, who knows what's going to happen this season. So I think it's really exciting for them. I think the Stuckey to Kmart connection back, I think, is going to rock a lot of people. Just as someone that lives in Gainesville and has watched that for 2 years, it's literally insane. So very excited to see that. So the little Florida fan in me will be also rooting for Penn State. So
Period.
Yeah, I also realize. Oh, sorry, go on.
I think Whitney on the outside there too is going.
I was going to say that.
yeah.
like again, it's preseason. I wanted to rank them Penn State higher. I see them in the next 2 weeks definitely being top 10. I know they're going to make some big noise. I just, again, we don't know what the puzzle's going to look like, but the pieces are there, and I feel like Stuckey there, and then big hit Witt is
Riley
going.
Jones.
Jesus Christ, Riley Jones too. My God, like I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I also realized I had a big glaring issue with my list, so we're all just making mistakes. I didn't have Penn State anywhere, which was a complete mistake.
That's a real hot take. She left them off.
Imagine. I mean, if they flop again, that's going to look so clairvoyant. But
Right,
I realized I had to do another bump like Kanan. So Georgia Tech is now my 26, and actually now Minnesota is at 16. So now 15 is Iowa State, 14 Penn State. This is where I get a little insane. 13 Oregon, 12 North Carolina, 11 Purdue.
Oh.
I'm really high on Oregon.
Spicy.
I think they looked better than they should have, considering they basically did not have a team a year and a half ago. And
True.
I don't know what passing is going to look like, but I'm big on Clemente. Yeah. I'm big on Volley.
And Marina
Crownover.
Crownover.
Yeah.
Hello. That girl
Underrated.
is an
So underrated.
athlete.
Yeah.
Also, did we lose? Anyone lose Abby's video but me?
Yeah.
I don't see Abby.
Abby, if you wanna.
No, I'm back. I was plugging my computer in. Yeah, I was plugging my computer in. It's also pouring down.
Oh no.
So if I lose you guys, I apologize.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Molly. Keep going.
Oh, all good. I think Iowa State, I think I might have the highest of anyone. I feel like the ABCA is sleeping on them, and people are just sleeping on them. I thought, obviously, like Nebraska did what Nebraska does against them in the spring, but I thought Iowa State looked like they had some serious potential, especially with the Big 12 being the Big 12. I think they're going to be number 2 behind ASU in the Big 12. So,
Yeah.
yes.
I mean, Miss Van Gorp, honey.
Van Gorp?
Miss Van Gorp.
I don't know who their setter's going to be, but I think they're going to be good.
Yeah, and they actually, just because I've been getting into the kind of the recruiting aspect of like looking at recruits recently, it's been annoying. But just because there's so many players, but they have a lot of good recruits over the next 2 to 3 years. A lot of good ones. So I think not only are they going to be solid again this year, they're only going to get better. And I think they will take a lot from portal games in the next couple of years, in my opinion.
Oh, Nayeli Tia at Iowa State is also really, really good and really slept on. So.
Wait, am I the only one that doesn't have Iowa State in my poll, or y'all? I
have them in my top 25. I have them towards the bottom, just because I just don't know. But I just think Rachel Van Gorp is so good. Like, you're going to be in system, and she takes up so much court and still passes that, you know. So I don't know what they'll look like, but I think it's hard to not see at least a little bit of success with the passing that good.
Oh.
I suck. I did not have them on my radar.
I also didn't have them. I had them like another honorable mention, but I guess I had a list of those, so that's how it is.
It's so hard.
Yeah. I think I'm the only one who didn't do the 15 11.
Yes.
So for my 15, I had TCU, 14 Minnesota, 13 ASU, 12 Creighton, and at number 11 I had Penn State. I kind of really wanted to put them higher, seeing especially, you guys already mentioned that Stuckey Kmart connection. I'm just a little bit worried about the passing. I think that's just a really big unknown for them, but in my heart I really want to have them higher, especially because they're kind of close to us, so we're going to go out to some games, so hopefully they're only going to go up higher on this list. Pray.
Wait, where are you based?
We're in Jersey. New Jersey, yeah.
I don't know why I thought you were in California.
I
thought
also
you were
grew up in California before.
I went to
and then
school in
found out.
California, so
Okay.
a lot
I
of
know
California
you're-
connection there.
Yeah, I know Mike went to Rutgers, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, that's like wow. Arizona State that low? That's crazy.
I was gonna say, I was like, now I want to hear a little bit of reasonings why ASU is so
What
low.
was that about?
I think for me and my brother as well, I think we were really enjoying Colby Neal. At least personally, I did. I know he kind of wrote her down, but I think for me that loss is kind of really big, and that kind of leaves a spot where I'm like, she's such a key piece for them, and Bailey Miller as well. That I don't know how good the team will be without them, of course, and of course Noemi Glover coming back from injury. She did do really well, but coming back from injury, doing well at the end of the season, I want to see maybe like a full season sort of how that turns out.
I think my biggest what if for ASU is like Una helps so much because neither outside passed well. I think they both passed like damn near a 2.0 or lower last year, which is not good. And then I don't know who's going to play libero for them. I assume it'll be Faith Frame again for them.
That was
would
my
assume.
assumption.
But she didn't get served a lot, so I don't really know what to expect there. But Una helps a lot. And then they have 2 international setters. My only concern with them is that are we going to see a 6-2? And if we see a 6-2 again, it's going to be really frustrating because what do you mean she would have put up better numbers than either of the top 2 outs, the right sides in the country? Because she almost beat them only playing halftime. You know what I mean? She was putting up over 5 points per set, playing 3 rotations. And if she was playing 6, and she played pretty good defense when she stayed in. So I just don't understand, like, it's the whole argument of, like, Texas went to a final with Jenna Gabriel running a 5-1. And Emma Grome is set for Kentucky, and she's, like, 5'9". And there's just so many short setters, and both their setters are listed at 5'10 and 5'11", and they are international players, so you know they've got good experience. So I will be very concerned with the decision to run a 6-2, given especially how not successful it is in the top 15 teams at a high
They're
level.
definitely doing themselves a disservice if they do that. It's so unfortunate. They need her in all 6 rotations. I'm sorry.
My counterpoint, though, is that they did so well last year. Even like Kyla Presley was the other opposite, and she honestly played really well. Like I obviously get it, and I don't think they should do the 6-2 because Noemi Glover is that good. But maybe out of the back row, they've noticed some weaknesses in her hitting. Maybe it's like a Logan Lednicki situation where teams won't even block her because they know they're going to get tooled if they go up to block her D-ball or something. I don't know. I have to imagine that with Glover's like athleticism and everything, like she can run a D-ball or a pick easily. But maybe JJ Vinyl knows something we don't. I don't know. It is very bizarre to me, but yeah, I will concede that it was effective.
Yeah, it definitely was effective. I will say, I think with how good their second opposite was, I think they thought they needed to run it because their outsides weren't the most effective. And it was like, how often are you going to good ball? And, you know, Glover's a little undersized. I mean, I hate that term because, like, she's so athletic and she jumps so high. So, like, I wouldn't consider her undersized. But, like, height-wise, she is a little smaller compared to, like, you know, Olivia Babcock and Candy Martin. But I think maybe he was concerned by losing a front row right side that they weren't going to side out as often or as well. And the block is smaller because they had 2 pretty small setters last year. But I don't know. I feel like they've got a good coaching staff. Like, I'd be like, let's get a new weight program. Like, let's get their vertical up. Let's get their block touch higher and find a way to, like, get the passing better so that we don't have to auto the outside so much.
Yeah.
And I feel like,
I will say-
is like huge for them. Like, girl, Miss Thing tore Texas up left and right. I don't care. Like, she'll tear anybody up left and right. So I think that will change with spreading out that offense a little more. And it, again, being that consistent, 6 rotation outside because it wasn't really there last year with numbers wise. So I think she's a game changer for them.
And speaking of Arizona State, I do have them at number 10.
Hey.
So.
Perfect. Well, I guess we can bounce on down. So we'll go to the ABCA's 10 through 6, which this is where I really question if the people that vote have any idea what they're talking about, respectfully. Like, this is where I go, you just saw names and drew them out of a hat. Because I don't know what the hell this 6 through 10 is. Penn State 10, 9 Purdue, Texas A&M at 8, receiving 1 first-place vote, and they need to publicize it because who voted them number 1? That's honestly insane. Louisville at 7, which is where I have them, so that's fine. But then Wisconsin at 6, which, and I say that, that's pretty harsh what I said, because, obviously I'm only moving a few of these around to like 1 or 2 places, but like, I just don't see a whole lot of wiggle room with most of these teams, other than A&M being significantly lower. How good their offense was with Kendall Stowers. I mean, she was solid passing given everything, but I think, can she put up numbers that good with her being the go-to? I don't see it. I don't see it. 280 after having that good of a run in the postseason concerns me. You have everybody hitting well, and you can't hit above 300 on the season. So that's my question with Stowers.
I would argue that point because 280, like, most outsides in the NCAA are not hitting 280. Like, very few. Only 2 that I can think of hit over 300 last season, and one of them was Sydney Nolan at Cincinnati, which, like, no one even thinks about her, even though she's great. So, like, 280 is quite good, and Kendall Starr has also, like, performed really well in, like, big matches, too. Like, she's the reason. Like, she's the reason they won against Nebraska. Like, Afena obviously was a huge reason, but, like, Kendall was she got, like, her career high or something against Nebraska.
Her postseason run was ridiculous. I just want to see her do that when she's the only option, or the main option.
No, I totally agree. Like, and I have Texas A&M at 10, which, like, I really debated if I was going to have them in the top 10 or not, but I just, like, trust Jamie Morrison, and I do think Natalie Ring is going to punch above, like, the Big East weight. But, yeah, I just got to stand up for Kendall, because I think she's so good.
And I do love Kendall. I do just have remarks about her postseason run was amazing, and obviously I think she was the one that definitely deserved MOP of the postseason. I just think it's like, and I do agree, 300 is obviously the goal, but we haven't seen outsides really hit that number in a long time, with just like everybody that's a good hitter usually being their go-to hitter nowadays in volleyball, so it's a little different. But I'm like, 280 when everybody's getting set, and then this year it's going to mostly be her. I just get nervous that's going to go significantly down.
That's fair.
But I also am not as high on Natalie Ring. I'm not as high on Natalie Ring as a lot of people are. Just because she has great games, like her game against, I believe, Wisconsin last year, or both times that she played a top 5 team, but then there's games where she hit like 100 against like a 300 RPI team. And I'm like, ooh. So I think she has potential to be very good for them, but big what if for me on the outside for her. If she's good, Texas A&M is going to be fine, but if she's not, I think it's going to be hard.
And like my thing on her is like she put those numbers with that even of an offense. Like, everybody was getting their points and whatnot and contributing. Now it's going to be her. So it's like, I'm excited to see. I do believe in her. I love me some Kendall, but at the same time, it's like, it's a game-changing season for her, I think. Mm-hmm. Is she going to be able to put all that weight on her shoulders and be that terminal, and hit at that clip, But we'll see. Only time will tell. That's why I had them at 10 as well.
Yeah. I do agree with Molly. I think Jamie Morrison and their entire coaching staff is really good, specifically with training middles.
Amazing.
So I think if he can get their middles caught up to speed even just a little bit, that will help them a ton. And obviously we all know he's really good at coaching middles. But let's see. So I gave their top 10. My 10 through 6 is going to be Stanford at 10, and I am very shocked that anybody has them any higher than 8, honestly. But we'll get into it. I have reasons, and I can understand why people have them higher, but we'll get into more later. I'm struggling to put them higher than 8. And I have Stanford at 10, and then I have ASU at 9, because I think that stabilizing the passing with Una and hopefully running a 5-1 and bringing in a lot of good players that are pretty proven will help them. And then I have Penn State at 8, which objectively is a little high given they have a lot of what ifs, but I really think it's going to be so hard for them not to be good. I think if Whitney, I've talked to some of them, Whitney apparently has been passing very, very good on the outside, which I think was the biggest thing. Is like, if she can pass, they're going to be fine. I think Faldudo will be fine as libero. I think hopefully it's better. And then I just think Stuckey is so used to running with zero help and zero passing that the passing can't get much worse than Florida's was last year.
Nope.
Even with Hayes passing as good as she was, she didn't really pass a lot in general. So I think even if the passing is slightly better than Florida's, I think Stuckey is going to turn shit into gold real fast. So I have Penn State at 8, and then I have Louisville at 7, which I think is a good starting point for them. They have a high ceiling, but also I don't think as high as some of the other teams above them. And then I have SMU at 6. I think some people are, like, to me, they were already really good. They almost beat Purdue down 2 starters last year. They returned pretty much everybody. The setting is obviously going to be a big what if for them, but from what I've seen, and obviously I was in their gym a little bit this summer doing some camps and stuff, and I got to see a little bit. And I think that their setters look very, very good. Matt Ulmer even said that Ellie Moore, their setter that transferred from Kansas to SMU, was the best setter on the Kansas roster, but she's just small. So given that knowledge, I think that's why I put them high. They also, the international opposite, she's obviously got tons of pro experience. She's 6'3", big arm. Victoria Harris is a huge step up from their libero last year. No shade to Schilling, but Victoria Harris is significantly better than their libero last year. I think Gabby Placide, Suli Davis on the outside is going to be filthy, and they return probably the number 2 middle blocker duo with Newsome and Favor, in my opinion. And then that's my top 6.
Okay, so again, we're doing 6 through 10, right? I'm a
6 through
train,
10, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, because you just said top. I'm like, bro, you got me confused. All right, so 10 is A&M. Like I said, that variable. But again, I have high hopes for them, but we'll see. And this freshman class is a really good freshman class, so we'll see. Number 9 is Purdue. I think they're definitely going to be a huge contender in the Big Ten and just their preseason schedule, so I have them there. Number 8 is Arizona State. Like I said, Naomi, Una. Again, I hope they go to that 5-1. That's why I have them up. I don't think you take Naomi off the court, so I have them at 8. 7 is Louisville, and 6 is Stanford. Again, I could have switched those 2 around, up, down. 6, 7, and 8, I was, again, stuck. And I threw darts, and that's just where it landed for me. So, yeah, that one, again, 6, 7, 8. Actually, 6, 7, 8, 9. I was like, okay, where am I going? What did they do last year? Who do they have returning? So, yeah, I got Stanford, Louisville, Arizona State, Purdue, Texas A&M.
Okay. No, I think those are all. I think that's kind of around where I am too, and I also sort of see it as like a, where did they make it last year? So it's like the 5, 6, 7, 8, obviously Elite 8, 9 through 16 is all like Sweet 16 area. So it's it's kind of hard to think about it in that aspect, but definitely kind of was sorting through that. For my 10, I went with Arizona State, like I said. I think just bringing back Noemi Glover is huge. I think any team bringing back their top scorer is just really, really good. And I think their transfer, Una, Anaya Clinton, also from Kansas State, will be a good get, just more depth. I have SMU at number 9. I know, Kanan, that might hurt your heart, but
I think as long as they're top 10, I'm okay.
I really think Malaya Jones and Avery Carlson were huge for them. So huge. I think Avery Carlson, the way that she was just able to dish the offense and really be able to adjust to all of those injuries and find her hitters, even though they were brand new hitters that were coming off the bench, and being able to connect with them. I think that's just definitely a big loss for them. And I know you've seen the setters in the gym. I think that's just my biggest question mark for them right now. But again, also getting Suli Davis is going to be huge for them. Placida Ole Miss was awesome. So, and Victoria Harris. Yeah, those are both from the SEC. I was like, I've been watching them. And then at number 8, I have Louisville. I think losing their starting middle, Kara Cressy, is a bigger loss for them than I think a lot of people think. They're going to have to rely a lot more on Chloe Chacoin and Peyton Peterson, probably more so than last year, and I just don't know if those 2 hitters are enough for them. I know I got to see a little bit of film of Chloe Meester. I think she's really awesome too. Excited to see if she gets some playing time as well. And then at number 7, and this one I think will surprise a lot of people, but I have Purdue. And the reason that I do have Purdue is simply they made the Elite Eight last year, and they bring back their top scorer in Kenna Wallard, and their top right side, Grace Heaney, and their starting setter, Taylor Anderson. And I know the instance with them playing SMU had a lot of injuries. They did also beat them earlier in the season. I just think, making the Elite Eight, I think a lot of people also doubted them last year, including myself.
Including myself.
Including myself. So I just think that's a good place to have them. Their biggest question mark is definitely going to be consistency. They had a great run in the tournament, but they did have some bad losses in conference play. So the Big Ten is going to be competitive. So, and then at number 6, I have Stanford. I don't think Stanford should be any higher than this, but the reason I have them here is just because, yes, they lose Elia Rubin, but they do have a lot more depth than a lot of people think. E. Park Hurt started for them in 2024, and I think Julia Blashoff is only going to just continue to get better and better and better. And, the freshman trio of Park, Sayer, and Etzler, I think this will be a big year for them in terms of, what growth do we see out of them. But I think I'm biased for Stanford. I love Stanford ever since even before Catherine Plummer and all of that. I've just always
Plummer era.
Yes, the Plummer era. But yeah, Blashoff was also actually scoring more than Elia Rubin towards the end of the season, which I think not a lot of people talk about.
Doesn't surprise me, but
so yeah,
I wasn't as high on Elia Rubin as a lot of people, unfortunately.
I agree.
Yeah, that's my 6 through 10.
Yeah, I will pipe in here just to talk about Stanford just a little and explain why I put them so low. My biggest thing is, even though I wasn't so high on Elia's offense or her ability to be clutch at the end of a match, because when they needed her to come up big for them, she usually didn't, unfortunately. Sorry, don't kill me. But I think that what she brought to the table was a bunch of leadership. I think the team looked to her a lot. And I think in serve receive, her and Etzler took up probably 75% of the court in every rotation. And I think between E. Parkert and Julia Blashoff, I don't know what their consistency in serve receive looks like. I think they're both good enough passers that if they can get it better, it'll be nice. But I also think offensively, them two plus Harvey's inconsistency, they have obviously the two best middle blocker duo. They have the number 1 middle blocker duo in the country. I don't think there's anybody that'll question that.
Nasty.
But they're disgusting. I was just looking at all the stats because I released my top 5 returning middles, and they were 2 of my top 4. And they're like almost 6 points per, or almost 7 or 8 points per set between the two middles, which is insane. But if the outsides can't pass, Etzler's great. I'm a huge fan of Etzler. If the outsides can't pass and the pins are all 3 really inconsistent, that is where I have a bunch of what ifs there. Because if even 2 are on, then great. But there was definitely moments where Harvey was off and whichever of the other 2 outsides was in wasn't producing, and I get nervous that they won't be in system enough to trust the pins enough. That's my what ifs for them.
No, that's a really good point. I do think I did see your top 5 middles. Thank you so much for putting Lizzie Andrew as high as you did. I think she is so underrated. Nobody talks about her enough. Come on. And she's just as good at hitting as she is blocking. She's truly consistent in both categories, and we don't see that a lot in middle blockers anymore.
Never. It's her and Favors. Also, their Favor doesn't get set a lot by Carlson, which Carlson doesn't set the middle that much in general, but I do agree that Carlson had a great connection with people when she did set them. But I agree, finding a middle that can block and hit is so hard. And she almost had more in every category than Andy. I was like, holy shit. I knew she was good, but damn. Yeah. I was not expecting
number 2 on our poll. When I voted, she was number 1. I think Lizzie's
nasty. She's nasty.
On every which way, like you said.
Literally.
Hitting
and put in tough moments. I think people underestimate, in the red zone, how somebody performs. And in the red zone, that girl was always on. Always on.
Okay, I have so many thoughts, so I'm just going to get into my 10 through 6, and then I'll be chatting along the way. Okay, so Texas A&M at 10. I feel like we've, gone over that. I have SMU at 9. I've been operating under the assumption that they were going to have Placide on the right, but it sounds like Inside Info over here has her on the left again.
She played against Texas A&M in the spring on the outside and hit 750 against them on the outside.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know she played some outside last year at Ole Miss, but primarily was on the right side. My concern about her was kind of similar to Abby's. Is like she's good, but I don't know that she's Malaya Jones on that right pin. But I think having her depth on that left pin will be really good.
Yeah.
So setting is also I just don't know what to expect from the setters,
Agreed.
but I think Sam Erger is going to get the team in good shape. I mean, she knows how to coach.
Right.
Louisville at 8. I think someone in my comments a few months ago pointed out that Louisville returns almost everyone besides Cressy, and that team was able, if they had just been a little bit more clutch, they could have been top 3 in the country. They could have taken down Texas. They could have taken down Stanford. Well, they did, and then they could have done it again. They could have taken down Pitt in that first game. They just were so unclutch, and that is what really sank their season. I do think Chloe Meester is gonna be kind of a thing up their sleeve.
Yeah.
And Brooke Boltema, I don't want to sleep on her.
She is such a hard worker. She would be in the gym 2 hours after their practices at Kentucky. She works, and she looks. In all of Dan's videos, I'm always like,
yeah. And blocking was always the area where I wasn't as sure about her, but now she's being trained by Dan Meskey on blocking. So
agreed. It's gonna 1000% agree with you.
Yeah. My biggest thing with Louisville is what version of Cabello is going to show up night in and night out, because sometimes I'm get her in the USA gym, and other times I'm what are we doing, girl? So, but they do have a really promising backup setter as well, so we'll see. Stanford at 7, and my thing about Stanford, I think Blashov's passing towards the end of the season looked insane. So here's my vision for Stanford, is because I don't know about the hitting on the pins either, but what I do know is the middles are amazing. So just Etzler and Blashaw are going to dime passes, and the middles are going to put up 9 points per set combined, and they're going to be good. That's just how it's going to go. And I will live in that fantasy until I am forced to otherwise. And they're just going to, do their weird serving thing where they have 10 service errors a set, but somehow it's going to work out for them. I don't know.
The service errors kill me.
Literally,
he doesn't care. He doesn't seem to care.
People think every time they miss a serve, you'd be so drunk by the end.
Oh my god, I would be dead.
I will not drink with Stanford game. Not happening no more.
Don't drink with Abby. Okay, and then 6, Arizona State, which I feel is pretty high, but I am very high on them. So that's it.
I think that's really the difference between a 5-1 Arizona State and a 6-2 Arizona State. It's really the difference between 5 and 10 for them, in my opinion. So
yeah, that's fair.
Hopefully it works out for them, whichever one they go with. So.
All right,
Yeah, that's
then
why-
for my 10. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Go ahead,
Eric.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, then for our 10, we had SMU here. I know Kaden was a little bit more high on them. I was hoping to stir the pot after I saw that we had them at 10. I was like, this is perfect. But yeah, I think for me, I'm a little bit more harsh on players coming back from injury. So that's kind of part of it. Obviously, you have the insider information, so you know how everyone's doing. But to me,
The girls don't want to hear
I
that.
have a
The
lot
girls
of
don't want to hear that.
I have the question of injuries. It's always tough coming back from them, so it makes me question a lot. But of course, if you say that they're going to be all good, even better maybe, then they'll probably jump up our list. Then for Texas A&M, we had them at number 9. I think I was actually pretty high on them, even though we do have them around where everyone else has them also. But I think I'm just high on Gabby Rodriguez, the incoming libero as well. So I'm excited to see what she can do, at least at the collegiate level. But then number 8, this is where we have Purdue. Number 7, we have Louisville. And number 6, we have Stanford. I know Mike wanted to put them a little bit higher. That is his favorite team. So there's 100% a ton of bias, which is why, I had to make sure we knocked them back down a little bit. But I think 6 is the appropriate spot. No real bias, at least from me, balancing out the bias as much as I can.
Facts. I think for sure, 7 through 10 for sure. There's so much wiggle room. And even Stanford at 6. I won't harp on you all too much. Because again, it's just If they can pass, I think they're definitely in the top 6. But if they can't, then I don't have them in the top 9.
If you heard the 5 or 4 though, you might have lost it.
That part. There's just no way. There's just no way.
Yeah, and that gets me like to my point. What I was gonna say is like that's what like is huge with this year is like the variables on each team are like crazy for like multiple teams. It's not just like like it's like 5 teams we just don't know. It's a lot of unknown factors. So I think with NIL, the transfer portal, 5 for 5. I know there's already talks and stuff like that, and whatnot with recruitment. It's just gonna. I feel like. Not even the playing field, but it's just going to spread things even more out. So it's not just going to be the same 5 teams, that we're always used to. I feel like it's spreading that wealth now, and that's what gives us, the reason why we're here, right, is to talk about like all these different variables and like what's really going on and like the teams. And I love that aspect of the game and where we're going is, we're spreading that wealth, and these teams are looking beastly, like pretty much on the top. So I love it. Like it's exciting to like we get this nowadays.
Agreed. I will say I also think that with the NIL plus the 5 for 5, I think we'll see a lot of West Coast teams come back into grace. I think there's been a big fall off on the West Coast, and I think they've got more money than people let on. And a lot of these teams like USC, Long Beach State even, I think has more money than people. I just think all these teams that used to be really good that have a little bit of money, and now that they get these 5 for 5, I think these teams that are on the West Coast are going to start to see. And who doesn't want to live in California? Let's be
Or
real.
Hawaii.
And I want Hawaii back so bad. I miss them.
Yeah, I think a lot of schools that maybe aren't like super high in like, football and basketball, I think we're going to see them sort of rise. I think Creighton, Kansas as an example too. I know Kansas does a lot for their basketball, but I think being able to allocate money, SEC is definitely going to be tough. But I think Texas has a lot of money. Just all the Texas teams will have a lot of money for NIL. But kind of thinking about that too.
Bring back the OG Pac-12. Like, I miss her.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know what this new Pac-12 is. Like, no.
Texas State, go Pac-12.
What did you say? Like,
Texas State, Pac-12.
I'm dead.
Sports actually.
So, at least I think we can all agree Stanford isn't top 5. But it's not even,
I'm here, yes.
I think the biggest thing is that, for me, how can you justify putting them over Wisconsin?
I can't. You can't.
I just
Well, the
can't.
thing-
Favoritism.
The thing about Stanford is that they're gonna look like a really good team, probably in conference play, and then they're once again not gonna get past the Sweet 16.
Maybe this is a hot take because I actually do really like Kevin Hambley, but ever since he took the program, they have missed out in the postseason quite a bit. Ever since he got his own recruits in there,
Yeah.
after the Catherine Plummer era and the Morgan Hintz era, and then even the Kendall Kipp, last final season. After that, they haven't really done a whole lot of things in the postseason. They obviously do well, but they don't do as well ever since he got his own recruits in there, which is crazy because they always have a great team. So I think maybe, I don't know, I'm not such a fan of the old school, nonchalant, just sit there or scream. There's like the two extremes of the old school coaching. You're either screaming at people or you're just sitting there with like no emotion at all. And I just don't think that that's what works for players nowadays. Maybe a few. But I think just like intensity and like high emotion, just like really showing that your team, like you care about your team. I feel like a lot of players like that nowadays.
I will say something about Stanford. Is yes, like they have not made the Final Four since 2019. But I will say with the new era of NIL and everything, the fact that they have still been able to retain top recruits, I think is still like really, really good. And they're continuing that, but no, I completely understand. But it does surprise me, like, especially with NIL now, that players are still going to Stanford, but that's Stanford education.
Yeah.
I would do it too.
Has to be.
But
I definitely agree. NIL is
I feel like with like Stanford as well, it's like that tradition. A lot of girls love that.
True.
They're consistently there. But I do think with Kev, I think we need to see like him get over that like hump. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're missing that like one key piece. But I think once he gets that one key piece, they get them another natty because they always have top recruits. But it's like every, since that era, we're missing one key piece, I think. And that's their game changer right there.
I feel very strongly it's the serving. I feel very, very strongly that their serving is, and I mean that so genuinely. I really think that their serving is a big reason they're not as successful.
I hate it. I hate their. Oh my god.
I think there needs to be a happy medium.
1,000%.
Because like I look at how they were down several points in 2 sets against Pitt last season, and then Elia Rubin just aced and got them out of system. Like, he saved so many match and set points, and they beat Pitt because of the serve. But then it's they'll lose sets and kill their momentum also because of the serve. So it's figure it out.
And I'll literally see his lips be good serve, good try, and hit the middle of the net. No fucking way. Excuse my language. No way. I'm not looking at my girl and saying good go, great attempt. No, not in a million years. And when I'm
not in the middle of the net,
absolutely no way that wasn't a good serve. But it's they don't care. I don't know. I literally cringe every time I watch a Stanford game and I see them in serves over and over and over again, and it literally irritates the hell out of me. I don't care.
Yeah, I need Stanford and Texas to meet somewhere in the middle.
Correct.
Yeah.
Girl, don't get me started with that.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
With that, we'll go into the top 5. So the ABCA had Stanford at 5, Pittsburgh at 4, Kentucky at 3, Texas at 2, and Nebraska at 1. And I think outside of Wisconsin, that they have the correct top 5, outside of Wisconsin not being in it. I definitely do not have this order, though. And maybe I'm a little crazy, because, I am a little crazy sometimes. But you know what I also am? Called the Texas A&M upset of Nebraska last year. So, I have Wisconsin at 5, and this is the crazy part. So when I first made my very first list, they were 3. And then I made it again, and they were number 1. So, and then now I've ended them at 5, because there's so many variables. Obviously, I think a big thing for me is that not having champion at the beginning of the season is going to hurt their rank, because I think champion is a big piece for them. And obviously, I know he says she's going to play outside. She's not going to play outside. That's what he just telling people. She's going to play right side. I think they look really, really solid. My biggest what if for them, because obviously they're going to be very in system between an international libero that played in the number 1 league in the world, and Kristen Simon, who I think was phenomenal last year, especially in reception. Defensively, I think, here and there was some improvement could be done, but as a whole, she's very good. And I think with both of them on the court, they're going to be very in system. But if we get pre-injury Charlie, they're not doing anything. If they get post-injury Charlie, they're top team in the country, in my opinion. So it's I really don't know what Charlie we're going to get. I would hope that we get the post-injury Charlie, but she was just setting at such a high efficiency that it almost doesn't seem real that she could keep up that level of play. You know what I mean? So I want to put them higher, but I need to see what Charlie we're going to get from beginning to end, in my opinion.
I think we're getting postseason, especially meeting her at the Big Ten Media Days. She's hungry. She got there. She, faced that adversity. She owned it. She got so much from that, experience. So I think that has definitely elevated her game, and that's going to be the Charlie that we have now. She came out and played a whole different human, right? And just hearing her talk, especially in the conference and just outside, the hallway and the little lobby, just the maturity that she has now, from her other little interviews she's done, as an underclassman, I think is definitely stepped up, and she's definitely gained so much from the injury. So from what it sounds like, we're going to get the new and fresh Charlie, but again, we'll see.
I hope so. Well, continuing my list, I have now here is where I really feel that these 4 could go anywhere other than Nebraska. I think Nebraska at 1. I don't know if they will finish at 1, but I think not giving them the 1 seed overall is a disservice, to be honest.
Y'all are going to kill me, but I don't care.
Oh, wow, yeah, we talked a little bit before. But I have Texas at 4, and they have the potential to win the national championship the past 3 years, including this year. Their lineup decisions will be the death of them, and also just not doing a consistent lineup that's going to win them games. I think, and I actually really like Jared Elliott. I also am a big believer in if your girls are really good fans of yours, I think it speaks volumes because obviously, like Dan Fisher, I don't love his court presence, but I've yet to find a player that doesn't like Dan Fisher. And I think if you play for a coach and then every player you have talks nothing but good about you, I find it very hard to feel negatively about them, you know? Whereas some of my other opinions are justified.
Not too much.
Not too much, not on this. But with Texas, I think Jared Elliott really has so much talent. I mean, he has probably, like, up there with Nebraska, like, the bench being able to be a top 25 team. I'm not going to say something crazy like they would and say they're a top 10, like Nebraska would say their bench is, but I think that Nebraska and Texas's bench could easily both be a top 25 team, for sure. And so I think it's nerve-wracking to not play people because you're scared to lose them to the portal in nowadays. So I understand trying to play everybody and keep everybody happy because especially these top players, they will go get more money and play. You know what I mean? And one thing I'm learning is that if you're giving donor money to a player and they're not seeing the court, you will not have that donor money moving forward. So I think that they're going to say, where's my donor money going? Oh, it's so-and-so. Why isn't she playing? So it's very hard to keep a player that's getting donor money when they're not playing because you won't get the money the next year. And I think that's just the reality of the world we live in nowadays. And so I have Texas at 4 because I don't know what lineup we're going to get. But then I have Pitt at 3, and I really almost put them at 2. There's just a lot of what ifs in the lineup, but I think Kentucky returns way more in the same. And they obviously lose a big piece in Eva Hudson on the outside, but they obviously pick up Morgan Gardy, who scored more points per set than Eva, obviously in a weaker conference. But I think she also brings much needed height that Kentucky has been missing on the pin for a long time, with her being 6'6" or 6'5", and she's a very athletic 6'5", 6'6". But then also, I think a piece that people aren't, if you don't really watch Kentucky, you're not taking this into account. They pick up one of Arizona State's setters from the portal, and she's a very good setter, and they have a freshman on the bench that is a 6'5" right side who's been doing national team development program for like a long time in high school. So I think people are underestimating the fact that when they need more size in the front row, they can run a double sub and put a bigger block on the right side again and have just as good of a setter coming off the bench to run that. And I think having that option off the bench and how Craig Skinner uses the spring to develop the backups, like Georgia Watson's playing a lot, Bellamy Views is playing a lot, Hannah Benjamin's playing a lot in the spring and the exhibition matches. I just think they have a lot of depth, and it is hard for me to put Pitt above Kentucky given all of that on their roster. And then I have Nebraska at 1 because, like, Lord God, no one wants to see Nebraska ever in a game. That was a lot. Sorry, guys. That was very long-winded.
No, you're good. I think I think obviously we have the same top 5. At least on my part. I think all of your points were really, really good. I just have them in slightly different spots, but Wisconsin I also have at number 5. I think despite you saying like possibly number 1, I just think losing Mimi Collier, you can't put them any higher. Mimi Collier was literally their team last year. I mean, she is like, I think the reason that they made the Final Four. I think Charlie obviously was dishing the offense, and her coming back is awesome. I think we're going to get a post-injury Charlie. I'm really excited. I've already seen clips of her connection with Jayla Auguste, but I think getting Jayla Auguste is going to be huge as well. I think the biggest question mark for them is going to be finding their go-to hitter. I know a lot of people are talking about Champion, and she's coming in a little bit late, but they're going to have to find a go-to hitter and just, I guess, leadership in general. I think Charlie does have the ability to do that this season, really be the leader on the court, but I think that's their biggest question mark for me. Number 4, I do have Kentucky. I just think simply the reason that they made the national championship last year was Eva Hudson. She went on an absolute tear against Wisconsin. Yeah. So insane. I just think that's definitely just a really big loss for them. What's really interesting, though, is despite they did lose 2 of their middles to the portal, they bring back the starting middles that they ended with in the season. So that's really, really big for them. Returning a lot of players. Sorry, that was thunder. Besides Eva Hudson, they really do bring back pretty much everyone else, and Morgan Gardy will be good for them. Biggest question mark for them is just their lineup. I think they have a lot of really good options, but and then number 3, I have Texas. I think bringing back Tori Stafford is huge for them. like Stanford, I think their freshmen in Kari Spears and Abby Vanderwall will level up, or they'll be beat out by Henley Anderson. We'll just have to see. So I think with Henley coming in, I think they're going to be challenged more, and they're going to work harder in the gym to get a starting spot. So I think we're going to see a good Texas team. I'm excited about them. Who is going to set them, I think, is a really big question mark. I made a whole video on, like, it literally could be any of the three of them. Like, you genuinely don't know. And I think that's been the thing for the past, like, 3 years. Like, coming into the season, who's setting for Texas? Who's setting for Texas? So, that's a question mark for me. And then just a consistent second option besides Stafford. They're going to need that to make it, I think, to number 3 at least. But and then number 2, I have Pitt. I do feel like Pitt could be anywhere between 2 and 4. I think the 2, 3, and 4 was really tough for me, but really depends on what kind of Izzy Stark we're gonna get back from, you know, her medically or like leaving to the team, whatever that was. And then, but I think bringing back Olivia Babcock, I mean, Olivia could figure it out with Brooke Mosher. Obviously, it was a little tough at the beginning of the season, but if you can set Olivia Babcock, I think you'll be pretty set, ready to go. Big question mark for them is a lot of things. I have like 4 different things. Find a consistent second option besides Olivia Babcock. That's always been their issue. Serve receive. They did not pass well against Texas A&M in the semifinal match. Really bad. Everyone was talking about like, oh, like they were serving Nebraska off the floor. I was like, they also served Pitt off the floor too.
1,000%.
So, and then I don't know if people really caught on to this last season, but they need to find a lineup. They were switching people in and out all season. Fun fact, Olivia Babcock led the Panthers in digs per set, which is kind of crazy to think.
To be fair, people were all, like, their opponents were always sending the ball her way. Like, they had to tip it over
totally.
whatever because they wanted to get out.
It just goes to show, like, they were switching out. Even setters, they were switching out or doing a double sub. They were switching out their outsides, like their libero, all of that kind of stuff. And I think they just need to find a lineup. I think I'm excited to see Ayanna Watson and see any sort of playing time she might get. But Jordan Daly transferred in from Kentucky. I think she'll lock down that other middle spot. But yes, I have them at 2, and then number 1 Nebraska. I just think at the end of the day they lost to Texas A&M in the Elite 8, and Texas A&M went on to win the whole thing. So I think, yes, they lost in the Elite 8, but they're this close between the Elite 8 and winning the national championship. So, and they bring back most of their players. Their question mark, I mean,
libero.
Getting it done. I think just getting it done really for them. So,
like libero, sure.
Yeah. Oh, that too. Yeah, I made a whole video on that. I think they should just run both of them.
I agree. Run 3 6-rotation pins and run a double libero. I completely agree.
I think they should run a double libero. I want to see Gabby DeVita play back row and hit.
Oh, apparently she has.
I need another Jade Demps 2021 deal.
Demps.
And I think Gabby DeVita can do it.
R.I.P. I miss her.
Okay, sorry, I talked forever. But that's my top 5.
Mine's very similar to yours. I have Kentucky at 5. That was hard. Like, they could be the number 1 team in the country, for all we know. My biggest thing with Kentucky is that Gardy is great, but I don't think she's going to replace Eva Hudson's offense 1-to-1, because against the 6 top 25 teams that Notre Dame played, her points per set went down by like 1.3, and her hitting efficiency went down under 200. So now, did she have any help in Notre Dame? Not so much. No offense to the Fighting Irish, but, you know, I wouldn't say that was the best which hurts my heart to say, but they don't seem like the best coached team. I love Salima, but I don't know what's happening over there. And also Cassie O'Brien's setting was good. Was she the best setter in the conference to the point of winning National Freshman of the Year, or did she just have Eva Hudson and Brooklyn DeLay taking out anything on the left pin? Because I didn't always love her setting of the middles. Well, so that's just one thing to watch. Wisconsin at 4. I had them probably outside the top 5 when I started making this list, and then Desilee's champion said, I'll be on the court in the fall, and I said, okay, they're going up. And I just think they do have a lot of youth, like, in their depth, but I think they've got a lot of proven pieces as well. So I have no idea what lineup they're going to run outside of Charlie, August, and eventually Champion, but we'll see. And Bardaro, obviously. But they've got so much talent that they are going to be a very dangerous team, and they could very easily win the Big Ten, in my opinion. Texas at 3. I hear you guys on the setting. I'm not a fan of watching Ella Swindle. I don't know why she's always, like, askew. Also, when she sets, someone in my comments pointed out that she's always at an angle when she sets, and I cannot unsee it.
Yeah.
So
there's no technique there.
It drives me crazy. But they did well. I mean, they were second in the SEC. They almost, swept Kentucky until obviously Kentucky reverse swept them in the SEC championship. Like, they make it work, and I mean, a lot of that is because Tori Stafford's incredible. So I just, like, no matter who they have setting, like, they're just gonna make it work somehow, which I mean is kudos to the hitters. But passing and blocking were their weaknesses. Well, passing was okay last year, but I think it'll be another point of, like, question this year. And then blocking, they weren't very good last year randomly. So, but their serving is going to be insane also. Like, I got to see Anderson and Harris serve at the U21 Pan American Cup, and those are some beastly serves. I was like, whoa. Pitt at number 2, which I was glad to see, Abby, that you had as well, because I was like, I think I'm being crazy, but also Olivia Babcock's the best hitter in the country, in my opinion, and Stark's the best setter. Like, at her ceiling, she's the best setter in the country, in my opinion. So you've got 2 incredible pieces. You've got Dan Fisher, who's a proven coach. You've got Blair Bayless, who was getting better and better as the season went on last year. You've got Ayanna Watson, who was the MVP of the Under Armour match, and the last one was Suli Davis, and she was amazing. So I just, like, think Watson's going to live up to the hype. Passing, though, I will agree with you all. Like, I don't know who their libero is going to be, and Godspeed to them, because I don't know that they've got a good option there. But, like, I think Maston's got a high ceiling, but I don't know if she's ready yet, based on what I've seen. Meyer, I was not convinced by her. And then Nebraska, number 1, obviously. The only weakness for them, in my opinion, is the pressure. They are going to do really well, maybe win the Big Ten, probably duke it out with Wisconsin, and then they're going to get to the tournament, and they better have an incredible sports psychologist, because the pressure that they must feel, especially, like, even, like, the underclassmen, knowing that this could be the last year for the 2023 class, like, it's just going to be insane. Like, everyone's going to feel like they have this duty to win it, and I just hope they have really good therapy on hand.
Right.
Yeah, I think just one thing about Nebraska, I just think the match against Texas A&M last year is going to sort of set the tone as to, like, in the NCAA tournament, like, you have to be on. Like, it doesn't matter who you're competing against. And I think really the only other example that we've seen of a Nebraska team just, like, crumble, not like crumble, but, like, their game against SMU in 2024. I mean, we can see when teams just simply out-scout them. They're just simply out-coached. And I really do think that that's what happened in that game as well. So I think it's just going to be really interesting. Can they just finally get over that hump? I really do think that they can. But again, it's the pressure. Regardless of how they end the season before, people are still going to put them at number 1 no matter what.
Yeah.
And that's just that's a lot of pressure. So
Yeah. I also have an interesting take. I think this kind of goes off of what Abby said about Pitt needing a lineup. I think we also saw DBK throw in a bunch of other people in other matches, and this may be a hot take, and it may sound harsher than I mean it, but I almost felt like she would do it to prove a point that she could win without her starters in.
Yep.
And I feel like switching the libero all the time, or like putting in her backup right side, or putting in Manaya to play middle, which I think Manaya was the one that I'm like, okay, yeah, get her experience in the weaker games because we need her the next year, you know? But I think Pitt needed to find a lineup because they needed consistency. And I think for the same reason, Nebraska needed to pick a lineup and stick to it, because I think that, yeah, you can win with a lot of your backups in, and maybe she was trying to prove a point that she could. Maybe she was trying to get them experience, but it just really felt like she was like, I can still win this game with my backup. That's kind of how it felt watching the game, and which is fine because I love DBK and I love that energy, to be honest. But I think it is still tough when you don't have the consistency, because in the tough matches, it's because I also think in easier matches, you need your starting lineup in for most of the match because you need to prove that you can show up against weak teams. I think a team not as good as you, sometimes it's easy to drop your level of play to their level. And so I think it did them a disservice to not play the starters against weaker opponents or to take them out early on instead of letting them show that they can show up every time all game. Not, oh, we won set one, now the backups can go in. I feel like that's not the best, again, for the mentality of like digging deep in an easier match and showing up. But maybe I'm crazy for that take.
That's also what I love about DBK is like we didn't see that in the Cook era. You know, he
No,
wouldn't
agreed.
clubs, right? Like we're like screaming at the TV, like, dude, what are you not seeing here? You have like a top 15 B team, you know, in the freaking country, and you're not making a single change. But like again, I don't know. So you can go argue it whichever way you want, but like I do love that about DBK and this Nebraska team. You know, she had no issues taking out Andy. I mean, that was absolutely crazy. I never thought we would see that.
Now, that needed to happen, though. I will say that sub, I was like, yes, sorry,
Correct.
Andy, you gotta
Cook
get
era,
off.
though, wouldn't have happened. He would
Hell
have made
no.
it through it, right? And it would have been worse than what it was. But I mean, I love that about DPK. She has no issues taking people out.
I will say, and building off that, when Nebraska lost to Wisconsin, if they put Lexi's son in, I don't think they would have lost that big set. Hot take.
Correct.
Shoot me in the head. I said what I said.
That's immediately what I was thinking. That is so crazy, but I totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
That
Somebody
changed
got
it.
it in there.
We needed to see it.
Gotta make
Would have been a
it.
whole different outcome.
Well, I think that, like, with the SMU match that Abby mentioned earlier, listen, SMU was on heater and they had scouted so well, but I don't think that Nebraska gets swept if DBK is in charge of that team. But John
Correct.
Cook, he did amazing things with the program, but he really will just dig his heels into what he wants and he won't waver. And it's like sometimes you've gotta.
Yeah, I think somewhere in the middle of them too, with the subbing. I think I like DBK's energy. I like the way she interacts with the girls. I think when it comes to subs, somewhere in the middle. Like
Fair.
what Craig Skinner does. When they're up 20-14, then you can put the bench in. That's how I feel. I'm like, get them experience when it's like the game is over. But I think just like making them dig deep and be like, they're below us, but we need to show that they're below us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
Okay, now I think the role's gonna like kill me at this point.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Same top five, but again, I personally, when I voted for our polls, I think I went against the grain with everyone. I think so. I have number 5 with Texas. Yeah, it was between them and my number 4, which I'll talk to in a second. Again, so much change, right? We had a lot of youth last year. I think we'll level up, but at the same time, who the hell is running this offense? Are we going with a 6-2? Are we going with a 5-1 or a modified 5-1? Like Henley's too good to not keep her on the court. There's so many huge pieces there that we don't know. And just even looking at these exhibition matches and the videos I'm getting, I'm like, damn, we look really freaking good. It's what are we gonna do with these pieces? It's wild. So there's just too much unknown there for me. So I have Texas at 5. Again, Longhorns don't kill me. I know I bleed orange, but I don't care. I don't know. I guess I have them at a higher standard or whatever, but I have them at 5. 4 is Wisconsin. So like I said, I could have gone either which way, 4-5, 4-5, but I just feel like Wisconsin, you got Champion, you got Grace, you have a Gus. Like, I'm sorry, just nasty. Yes, Champion's a freshman, but that girl is lethal, nasty. So I think she's coming in ready to play, D1 college volleyball for the University of Wisconsin. I think she's just a like a plug and play kind of thing. So I definitely see her seeing that court heavily and whatnot. I have Kentucky at number 3. I love me some Kentucky. I don't care. I know they're our SEC, like our rival, but I love me some Kentucky. They, with Gertie and Big Pen and Delay. I love, they somehow make it work, consistently. How they do it, it's wild to me, but I love watching them play, the way their offense runs. Brian, I just think they are a solid, good team. And with Gertie coming over, I think they're just a key, part of that, and just gives them a little bump up over Wisconsin and Texas. Second, I have Nebraska. So
Everyone get him!
literally,
The corn cult is coming for you.
love y'all so much. But at what point are we going to hold these girls accountable, right? At what point? Y'all been consistently preseason number 1, making the tournament, going really far, Final Four. But at what point are we going to hold them accountable? When are they going to finally get over that mental, hurdle? When are they going to finally get past that last level? But I know that people are going to be like, what's your argument for this next one? Because I know that that's coming. But but at least when are we going to hold them accountable, kind of thing? What are they doing with the libero system there? I think they should run both of them. But again, DBK, I love you, but again, you need to figure that one out, right? Again, there was just so much going back and forth last season that kind of hurt. You could see, when Lexi was in, she held that, that back row down, and the girls knew that and they could trust her. It looked like a lot of the times their pins were questioning whether do we take that or not. So I think that trust wasn't there last year, we would see in past liberos there. So that's to me libero country. So I love what they have there, but it's just I'm pretty much holding them accountable to last year. They're returning pretty much everyone. So what are we doing here, kind of thing. And then in preseason number 1, I have the Pitt Panthers. I'm sorry, you little Cornhusker freaks. This is Pitt. If Pitt's gonna do it, this is the year. Yes, I know they lack on the passing and what is the libero situation gonna look like, but it's gonna be more so. Izzy's just amazing. I think she's the best setter in NCAA. Me personally, she will make whatever into whatever and make it look good. And I think if this is the year Pitt does it, this is it. Izzy is a great addition, and Babcock, it's going to be really exciting to see. So that is my top 5. I know I'm going to get a lot of backlash, but I don't give a crap. So this is my opinion. That's what we're here for. And that was my vote on our poll. And what do y'all got for me? I know I'm pretty sure that kind of threw y'all for a monkey wrench, but
I love this.
Honestly, I get it. And Pitt's got a lot of depth this year, I think, figure out their lineup like Abby said. But
Yeah, all I'm gonna say is I just cannot see them lose in the Final Four again. They either need to get past the Final Four, or just don't even bother making it to the Final Four.
Lose early or win.
Right. At least
I cannot see them lose in the Final Four again, and especially when they were playing against Texas A&M, and I kind of knew that they were going to lose to Texas A&M in the Final Four. But even then, it's okay, you got the team that just upset Nebraska. You're not getting Nebraska in the Final Four. At this rate, this should be when you win. When you finally, after all these years, make it to the national championship. But they still did not. So, yeah, I hope they either make the national championship, or it's just I would hate to see them lose in the Final Four again.
Just if not when, this roster, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? If not when, that's the thing. And that's why I just have them at number 1. This is a loaded roster. They got to figure it out, but so do everybody else. So, come on now, get it together, Dan. Let's go.
but give us the Pitt Louisville Final Four or Pitt
My
Louisville
God.
Elite Eight game, please give us the drama.
Yes.
When I went and watched them play, it was like one of the times they played in the Final Four, and Pitt literally lost like 15-2 in the fifth set, and I was like at a loss of words.
No.
And it was like so late at that point, I almost was just gonna leave. This was what, I think in Omaha, 3 years ago maybe?
Yeah, I
don't
believe so.
remember. Yeah, I was definitely there, 15-2. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Was that the year of the AC gate?
The what?
Was that the year of the AC gate? Whenever Nebraska claimed that it was the AC.
Oh yeah, it was too cold.
Yeah.
Oh,
AC Gate is
no,
crazy.
sorry, maybe it was the year before. Maybe it
Oh,
was 2022.
That reminded me of a point, but I'll talk after. I'll tell. That reminded me of my point after.
No,
after
so
we get-
yeah, 2023 was Tampa. I apologize. There was the year before when they played each other, Pitt Louisville in the Final Four, and Pitt lost 15-2 in the fifth. But I was also there in Tampa for that national championship match where my jaw was just dropped the whole time. At least in the third set.
Yeah.
All right, then I think I'll give my top 5 now. I guess it is very different. I didn't think it was going to be this different from everyone, but here we are. At number 5, we have Wisconsin. Definitely could have been higher. My brother is very high on Wisconsin as well. It's one of his favorite teams. I have Pitt at number 4. I think for me, definitely just a lot of that passing question where last year I was getting very frustrated, and plus just a little bit, not to plug my own future video, but for our fantasy draft last year, we did take Izzy Stark, and that just left a sour taste in my mouth where I was like, our season's over at the very beginning of the season. So I'll just be holding that against her. Maybe that's why we'll keep her at number 4. At least personally, I could have gone lower, but it is personal now. I was like, oh, it's our own league. We can't be last. But here we are.
I just remember that. That was kind of wild. Yeah. And then meanwhile, I took Kendall Stowers before that NCAA tournament.
Crazy.
Clutch picks, and we
have her.
We were sleeping. We were actually sleeping. I think the mental is just gone after the Izzy Stark situation. We were just like, yeah, we're just gonna be last. It just is what it is. We'll pick up our players and let everyone else have fun.
They just didn't give you the intel. That's shitty.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
At the very first moment, we were like, okay, maybe something's just happening. Maybe she'll be back. And then it was like, oh, there's all the information out. We're just done. Yeah. But let's just move on. I don't want to go too in on her for that, but at number 3, I had Kentucky here. Number 2, we have Texas. My brother's very, very high on Kari Spears, so I think he's expecting a big jump there. And last year, he already kind of rated her as one of the best right sides in the nation, and with his projection tracking, he's expecting some big moments from her this season, so that's why we have him at number 2. At number 1, of course, we have Nebraska, and just for Nebraska, my own personal thoughts, I just want them to win the championship this year because I have this feeling if they don't, they might all come back for that 5th season. I just don't want them to. Just go play pro, please. Don't come back for a 5th. I already have thoughts on the 5th season thing in general. I just don't want the whole generation to come back to win a try and win a chip. I don't even know if they will if they lose again, but